She had followed every guide, every spiritual checklist, vision boards layered in pastel dreams, full moon release rituals under candlelight, affirmations whispered 3 times daily like incantations. She journaled gratitude before sunrise, wrote intentions in gold metallic pens, and memorized manifestation scripts from 6 different coaches online. And still, nothing. No breakthrough. The relationship didn't evolve. The financial shift never landed. Her outer world stayed stubbornly still. And worse, her inner world felt hollow. Not just stuck, but like the energy had been drained from the system. Then one quiet afternoon, something shifted, but not how you'd expect. She was walking alone through the park. No podcast in her ears. No inner chant looping in her mind. Just silence. Just breath. Just presence. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't doing anything spiritual. And in that stillness, she looked up, and it was as if the whole field around her softened. Something opened. Not outside of her, but through her. A clear thought emerged, not a mantra, not a strategy. It wasn't from her mind, it was through her awareness. You've been trying to manifest from the frequency of not having. And it hit like lightning. Every affirmation she had repeated was secretly charged with urgency. Every vision board whispered, "You're still far away." Every ritual, every intention had been rooted in separation, not alignment. That was the moment she stopped forcing. And for the first time, things started appearing. But this isn't just her story. This reveals a core principle of quantum manifestation that nearly everyone, yes, even seasoned spiritual seekers, overlooks. The universe doesn't respond to your language. It responds to your energetic signal. And most of us, we're radiating mixed signals, energetic static, and emotional noise. We've been taught that manifestation is a job, a process of effort, repetition, and emotional discipline. But what if all that effort is why it isn't working? What if the real shift happens in simplicity? Because here's what mystics, yogis, and even quantum physicists like Bohm and Heisenberg have been saying all along. Reality doesn't change because you control it. Reality shifts when you become coherent enough to match its rhythm. But most people don't practice stillness. They practice obsession. Their energy field becomes dense with trying, with hoping, with mental strategy and emotional resistance. Their desires are pure, but their field is foggy. And the quantum field? It mirrors back your dominant energetic state, not your intentions. Here's the paradox. The more you effort your way into alignment, the more you confirm you're out of alignment. The field reflects the truth of your vibration, not your wishful thinking. The woman didn't attract a new reality because she gave up. She attracted it because in letting go of the noise, she finally became clear. She stopped being the frequency of trying. She became the frequency of space. And that's what the universe responds to. This video isn't about adding more manifestation tricks to your toolbox. It's about simplifying, radically. It's about understanding that what creates your reality isn't doing more. It's becoming less distracted by misalignment, because clarity is power, simplicity is magnetic, and trust is the gateway to all of it. So why does this actually work? Let's go deeper into quantum physics. In the quantum model, nothing exists in fixed form. Reality exists in an infinite sea of probabilities until something collapses it into form. That something is you, your consciousness, but not just any state of consciousness. The field collapses in response to coherent observation, to energy that's stable, focused, emotionally clean. Most people are trying to broadcast love while resonating with fear. They want wealth while broadcasting guilt. They seek peace while vibrating anxiety. It's like trying to dial into a radio station while switching frequencies every 2 seconds. Static, noise, incoherence. And the universe? It can't lock onto your signal until your signal stops wavering. That's why manifestation becomes powerful when it becomes still. When you stop pushing, proving, doubting, comparing, your energy field becomes sharp. Your signal becomes clean, and the field reflects that clarity. In quantum science, there's a concept called decoherence. It means a quantum system loses its power when it gets tangled in too many outside influences. Apply this spiritually. When you entangle your mind with fear, overthinking, needing validation, you decohere. You stop radiating from your center. But those who manifest with grace, they don't hustle their way there. They're not forcing reality to bend. They're in such deep alignment with their future that it bends to them. They're not louder. They're clearer. They don't live from lack. They live from embodiment. Their field says, it's already done. And that signal is undeniable. So yes, simplicity isn't just practical. It's energetically efficient. It removes resistance. It opens timelines. It clears the fog. And the field can finally respond. Quantum pioneer David Bohm described the universe not as parts, but as a unified, infinite whole, a holographic field of potential where every intention, thought, and emotional state unfolds into physicality. So the question is, what are you feeding into the field? Complexity or coherence? Chaos or clarity? Control or embodiment? Because most of us were taught that achievement comes from hard work, repetition, and struggle. That belief is baked into our culture. If it's not hard, it's not real. If it's easy, it's not earned. So when someone says manifestation can be simple, the ego resists. Why? Because if it's simple, it threatens the identity built on doing more. The ego wants control, not surrender. But quantum alignment doesn't reward effort. It mirrors vibration. And when you finally release the compulsion to try, you return to your natural frequency, your original signal. And in that signal, manifestation stops being a process. It becomes a reflection. Next, we're going to decode the core emotional loop that keeps people stuck in complexity and how to break it. You'll see clearly why your strongest desire might be the exact thing keeping your reality delayed. Here's the trap most people unknowingly fall into, the loop of wanting. Wanting sounds harmless, even spiritual. But energetically, wanting is loaded with lack. Wanting says, I'm not whole without this. It's different from desire, which says this would be beautiful, but I'm already enough. The field responds to who you are being consistently. If your dominant frequency is, it's not here yet, then the quantum mirror reflects exactly that. In quantum terms, all possibilities, abundance, healing, love already exist as superpositions. You don't attract them by hoping. You tune into them through vibrational identity. Wanting is a contraction, a closing. It says, I am incomplete. Being is an expansion. A knowing. It says, I already am. And here's the thing. You can't fake this. You can't mentally say, I have it, while emotionally broadcasting urgency. The quantum field isn't listening to your words. It's tuning into your consistency. And that's why simplicity is so potent. It returns you to coherence, to wholeness, to signal strength. Think about people who manifest with ease. They're not obsessive. They're not checking for signs hourly. They're living. They're being, and their relaxed field becomes a magnet. Wanting contracts the field, being expands it. So how do you shift? Not through more effort, but through identity. You stop trying to become someone who will have the thing, and instead you embody the person who already does. You don't visualize because you're missing something. You visualize because it stabilizes your frequency. You don't affirm out of doubt. You affirm out of certainty. The shift is quiet, internal, unseen by others, but felt by the field. And as your field shifts from longing to living, your outer reality reshapes around that stability. Because you're no longer a seeker, you're a signal. Now, let's make this shift physical. Here's a simple, yet powerful morning ritual. I call the Already Frequency Protocol a 3-step process to stabilize your identity in the frequency of having. Step 1, wake into stillness. Before you check your phone, place your hand on your heart. Breathe in for 5 counts. Hold for 5. Exhale for 7. Repeat 3 times. This moves you into the alpha-theta brainwave range, where deep reprogramming begins. It also activates your heart's electromagnetic field, your most powerful vibrational transmitter. Step 2, speak it as now. Out loud, gently say, today I live in alignment. I embody abundance. I radiate wholeness. Say it like you mean it, not to make it happen, but because it already is. This trains your nervous system to anchor into that identity. Step 3, feel it for 90 seconds. Visualize it, feel it. But more importantly, breathe it into your cells. Let it land in your body, not your mind. The goal here is not effort. The goal is entrainment. Because once your field believes it's done, reality syncs up. Simple, powerful, coherent. And when you start broadcasting this clear signal daily, the field responds not with delay, but with mirrors. Before you go, take one action to lock in this shift. In the comments, write, I let it in. Let that be your declaration. Not that you're trying harder, but that you're finally allowing. That's when the current starts flowing. In the next part, we'll dive into the reason your subconscious may resist simplicity and how to unhook from the mental noise that makes manifestation feel like a chase. Because here's the truth. It was never supposed to be hard. You just got used to the noise, and when the noise fades, the reality you've always felt coming arrives. But here's the real reason simplicity feels so hard. They're afraid it might actually work. Not afraid it won't, but that it will, and that the version of themselves who receives it won't know who to be without the struggle. This is what keeps you looping in complexity, in spiritual busyness, in well-intentioned resistance to ease. Because simplicity demands one thing your ego can't fake: surrender. And surrender feels like death to the part of you that's built identity through striving, fixing, proving, and earning. So when someone says, it's already done, your nervous system whispers back, but if I stop trying, won't I lose everything? This is the paradox. You consciously crave ease, but you've been trained to feel safe in effort. You want flow, but your body has been rewarded for struggle your whole life. So now peace feels like risk, and complexity becomes your emotional safety net. Let's go deeper. Neuroscience shows us that your brain builds predictive models to protect you. If you've spent years believing results only come from stress, overthinking, or effort, then anything outside that pattern feels unsafe, even if it's better for you. In quantum manifestation, this becomes a feedback loop. You think you're attracting something new, but your field is still carrying the emotional signature of efforting. So the reality you receive doesn't match your desires. It matches your dominant emotional state. That's why simplicity, true energetic simplicity, isn't easy. Because to live in simplicity, you have to let go of the identity that feels powerful in complexity. The overthinker, the spiritual fixer, the one who always needs a new tool to stay aligned. The part of you that is secretly afraid of what happens when the noise stops. But here's the liberation. When you release the identity that's addicted to trying, you finally become available to receive timelines you could never force. Because the version of you who has it isn't trying to get there. She's already there. She's not checking for signs every hour. She's not manifesting out of panic. She's not performing for the algorithm of the universe. She wakes up and radiates coherence. She doesn't need to prove she's aligned. Her field already is. And this is who you're becoming. Actually, it's who you've always been underneath the static. But how do you stay in this frequency when the world around you constantly pulls you back into the loop? The answer is not force. It's emotional neutrality. Not numbness, not apathy. Neutrality. Neutrality means, I feel the emotion, but I'm not ruled by it. When doubt arises, I don't fix it, I witness it. When urgency creeps in, I breathe through it instead of reacting. When fear speaks, I don't argue, I just don't believe it. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls living from the memory of your future, emotionally anchoring into the version of you that already knows. It's done. That emotional signature, not your words, not your thoughts, becomes your broadcast signal. Because the field doesn't respond to what you're doing, it responds to who you're being while doing it. And being is not a performance. It's a return to your original frequency. Before the world taught you to force life, to chase love, to earn your worth. And now that you're clearing the noise, your field is opening. And when your field opens, reality begins to shift. Not because you commanded it to, but because you stopped resisting it. That's what's next. In the final part of this journey, we're going to show you how to maintain this new state, not with more affirmations, not with tighter routines, but with something most people overlook: presence. Because detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so deeply that you finally trust the field to deliver, better than your mind can imagine. In the quantum realm, your biggest breakthroughs don't come from trying harder. They come from collapsing the old timeline, the one where effort equals value. And when you let that timeline go, what was stuck begins to move. What felt far becomes near. And what you used to chase starts chasing you.